this debt and getting this straightened out. And I'm sorry, but I'm not seeing that. And I apologize if I hurt anybody's
No,
feelings.
you're not hurting my feelings. No, you have the right to your opinion. I appreciate you being here, but I strongly disagree with you. I mean, we all three were handed this jail. It was overbuilt. Haskell County spent more money than they should have on the jail. We were handed this problem. And we are going out for half-cent sales tax, and if it doesn't pass, well, it doesn't pass, and, you know, we probably can, in my opinion, which I don't know this to be a fact, but in my opinion, I think we can use reserve money for a year and see what happens, and, you know, if it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass.
But what about this, our standing with the bond and all that? That can't just go out the window.
Well,
we
can put the 3/4 of a cent in there. But how are you gonna pay? Let me say this. Randy and everybody keeps talking about the 1/4% going for the debt. That's true. I can't argue with him. We haven't put it in there. It went in the general fund, and if we hadn't put it in the general fund, we wouldn't even be paying the deputies out there right now. I don't know who would be working out there.
Let me ask you this. When you take a job, you know what, or you should know what's involved in that job.
Well, it's
and
hard
what
to
you
know.
have to
It's
take
hard to
place.
know the future.
But this has been going on now for how many years since the jail? When's it gonna stop? Something's got to be
In
done.
my opinion, and Tom has had the numbers, and Anita there's went and visited with Tom, and I'm assuming she's gonna put it in the paper. I don't know. But Tom over here has run the numbers what a half-cent would do for our jail. And according to Tom, and he's not here, so I don't speak too much for him, but it will cure our problem.
But that's still, you're talking about if that
Yeah, you're right.
passes. And
Not only if it passes, but if it's not challenged. Because there's question as to the way that the sales tax was approached, that it's not legal.
Well, our DA said it was legal, and Randy's right, it could be challenged, and our executive director at ADCO has pulled up other statutes and other cases, and he says, Gene Wallace says it's totally legal. So we took the advice of our DA and Gene Wallace, and they both said it was legal, and they backed it up with other cases. So, and Randy's right, it could be challenged.
who is our legal representative? For the
40
county.
Ward.
And he knows all that's going on and everything, so he's making a learned decision, you think?
Yes, he said he has looked up other cases, and when I talked to Gene, he gave me the same answer. So, and you know, if it's challenged, I guess people have the right to challenge it if they want to challenge it.
Paul, one more comment. You used the phrase "beating a dead horse." This dead horse is going to come back and haunt us if we don't deal with it.
Randy, that's
It's Bobby. I didn't write the
Bobby,
audit.
I apologize.
I didn't write
to
the
you.
audit.
I apologize to you.
But we're asking the voters to approve an additional half-cent sales tax when we haven't done what we said we were going to do with the additional tax. Let's clean up our house. I don't disagree that we don't need an additional source of revenue. You never heard me say that. But we need to fix this before we go forward. I believe that.
Why do we need them money?
What, do we need to fix this?
No, we need a tax or what?
I don't know, because
Well,
we haven't followed the recommendations of the committee, which suggested
recommended
that we look at options.
We hire these other bond attorneys and get them to recommend the actual and needed avenues to proceed. And they got stopped when you went for that sales tax unannounced and didn't tell the committee you were even going out for it. Didn't bind our backs.
Did Nody tell us that we had to have some kind of tax or something?
No, he did not.
Nobody's recommendation was a sales tax was not an option for Haskell County. I've got it right here.
I agree
You
with
read
you.
it?
He said he didn't, in his opinion, it wasn't legal.
Well, you keep saying Nody recommended the sales tax.
No, I didn't say that, love. Hey, I apologize for calling you Randy.
It's all right.
Sorry about that.
But I won't beat the dead horse anymore. As far as the voters go, if we don't take care of our problems, I don't know how we expect them to
Yeah,
approve
but
the additional tax.
let me ask one question,
Yes,
and then maybe we'll be through with this.
yes.
It's all in black and white. It's all in Gail's office. The other 1/4% went to the jail to pay to pay jailers to work at the jail. Without that money in our general fund, how would we even pay jailers to work at the jail?
Excellent question. That should have been answered before you committed to the bond company to pay the 0.25% you're going for
Okay.
to refinance the bond. That's the question.
That-
The question isn't, how do you pay the deputies? The question is, why did we commit a 0.25% when we knew we couldn't keep the
And
commitment?
to answer your question,
So no, that's the question.
and once again, we took a risk at that time because we did not want to ask the people for a 0.5% sales tax. We did not want to burden the public with this problem. And we've done everything, in my opinion, we can not to ask them.
It was in the original plan when they borrowed the $450,000, brought to their past bond attorney, that they would go out for 0.5% sales tax to take care of the shortcomings on the 0.5% and also on the new junior loan of $450,000. So the 0.5% sales tax was a planned effort back then. Well, you admitted it. You previously admitted to that.
Admitted to
That's
what?
when it was planned.
The 0.5% sales tax?
Yes, the 0.5% sales tax that you just went out for was originally a plan of Jeff Rayleigh's when you got the financing. You had no other means to pay it back. And I asked you that question, you said yes, it
No,
was.
when Jeff Rayleigh first walked in this room and wanted the 0.5% sales tax, I said, no, Jeff, I'm totally against the 0.5% sales tax. I said, we've already told the people of Haskell County that 0.5% would take care of their problem. And then, after going through this process and then with noting other people, and I don't want to ask people for 0.5% sales tax. I wish we wasn't even in there talking about
We're
it.
on this dead horse again. The thing about it is that they committed a full 0.75% to obtain the $450,000 to make a loan payment. Borrowed money to make a loan payment because nothing was thought of until it came a problem. And then what we're trying to do here is to get the funds gathered up now and in a proper manner so that we can make the next payment and not hurl ourselves back into that same situation. It's bad planning then, it's bad planning now. And if we don't start doing something about it, we're gonna be in the same situation that we was last April and the April before.
But
The payment comes due every April, first of every April.
Randy, you've got all the answers. What are we gonna do about the courthouse and the jail? How we gonna operate it?
What does your statutes tell you have to do?
And Randy, it's out the way.
I'm answering this
All right,
question.
go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
you're not answering it. You're asking me a question.
What does your statutes tell you to do?
Well, we have to fund each office.
What if you have a shortcoming on your jail?
What does it?
Then you have to make cuts to fund it.
Make cuts
We're at how
last
many
year.
hands out there now? You tell us every week that how short-handed we are, and
And that's correct.
we're gonna get in a lawsuit if we don't put more help out there.
That's correct.
It takes money. It takes money.
But you still haven't answered his question. What does the statute say you have to do in a situation like this? Have you read the statutes?
I don't know
Do you
what
all
the
know
statute-
I know
they
the
say?
statutes state that we have to fund
We have to fund each office. They
the elected official and the first
and the
deputy.
first deputy.
I'm not specifically pointing the finger of where to cut or anything else. What I'm trying to get the commissioners to recognize, Clark, is that we cannot wait until February of next year and say, oh my God, what are we gonna do now? We need to start earmarking money right now so that we can make this debt. And what else happens, happens. But you have to start holding this money now. You have to start accumulating it. If you don't do it now, you'll fall short, you won't be able to achieve it. So far, we broke our necks to make that auction happen so we could have that payment made last year. We borrowed the money to make the payment the year before. we obviously can't continue down that trail.
Obviously, we gotta have money.
And the plan of the half-cent sales tax was thought of when that junior loan was made, because that's the only way they was ever gonna be able to make the junior loan payment, which is due in full in 2024. Right now, if you don't get a sales tax, you're gonna be needing to save $10,000 a month, part of it to pay back the junior loan that you borrowed last year.
I think we need 10,000 a month just to make the April
I
payment.
think anybody that has studied this would agree, and you have agreed with me in the past. If we don't get a sales tax or a property tax, we're going to default eventually. It may not happen this year, but if we don't get one or the other, we're going to default.
And the only thing I've said, I'm just like Bobby has reiterated several times, I've never said you didn't need more money. I just said you need to go after it in a proper manner.
And I agree with that statement 100%.
Can I ask a question? Does the county have any buildings or offices that we own that aren't being used per se? Because it'd be really nice to save the money that we pay the Choctaws rent for a building that we used to own for the health department. I mean, that's $4,700 a month that we pay to them to rent, and if we had a building that, or offices or something that wasn't being used, could we move the health department out of that building and save that $4,700? Is it, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if a building that size is. But I mean, that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, it's
And I would-
$60,000
and I-
a
if we-
year.
If we had a building, that'd be a really good idea, but I don't,
Randy, I don't really know who to ask the question to, but since Danita Williams is not working any longer, what happened to her payroll? Where did it go?
that's not in our
That's
general
staying.
fund. That has nothing to do with our general fund.
The county doesn't pay the DA or stuff like that? Okay, I just wondered, I didn't know.
I mean, that's a good thought. I mean, that's something, need to think about everything.
If you don't save, we can beat on this all day, but if you don't save this money now, you keep worrying about your courthouse going down. Your courthouse is going down anyway if you don't save this money.
I know we're in a catch-22,
So
Randy.
what you need to do now is you need to start making steps towards looking in every closet, every avenue of saving money and to collect this money and fund it now so it doesn't get unachievable later on.
So when this meeting's over, Randy, you and I can walk over to Gail's office and we can ask her if we pull, because I mean, I pulled out the jail, what we're gonna own the jail is $520-something thousand in April, you know, and then you throw the junior deal on there, we're gonna need like $120-something thousand to make that payment. So that's $10,000 a month.
Well, here again, that junior payment was the awfulest mistake we could have made.
I'm not gonna argue that.
But the reason that the junior loan was made was because we did not save our money till the payment came due. We waited until it was too late and had no other choice but to go borrow the money.
Yeah, but that's,
And when we did that, then they came in here and they signed us up. They got fees to facilitate the loan. Out of that $450,000, we got about $200,000 out of it, and we give the rest of it away. Plus, on top of that, we're making a $2,400 a month interest payment. Well, $2,400 a month is half of our shortcoming.
well, like I said, when we leave this meeting, you and I can walk over there.
I don't have to, I've got it right here.
Yeah, you have that, but I mean, what it would do to our courthouse if you take $10,000 a month out of the general fund, $120,000 a year. I mean, we can take it out.
Well,
Yeah, but-
Paul, on that, on the, Randy and Clark was talking about the question on what the statute says. If I'm not mistaken, it plainly states that your jail and the operation is number one that has to be taken care of. So,
Yeah.
if the statute, I'm sure that statute's wrote for a reason. I'm sure it's a law to follow. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, but should we not follow the law? And then if it does go bust, nobody can point your fingers at you.
You know, John, I do agree with you on that. And I've thought about the same way you have, and I agree with you. You know, maybe we may have to make some tough decisions, and you know, I don't know how the county's gonna operate without without a courthouse, but.
You keep talking about the courthouse gonna go down.
No,
Well, I mean, it's going,
something's gonna
not
happen.
being funny. But if we go default and it goes down anyway,
But we can,
what's the difference?
The difference is this, if we do it ourselves, we're managing it.
Right,
If we let them do it, it's out of our control.
right.
well,
And
anyway,
it will sink then. What
Yeah.
we need to do is
That's
we
okay.
need to get up off our duff and do it. We need to do it ourselves. We don't need to be looking for somebody else to help us or do it for us. We need to do it from within.
But Johnny, do you care to go to Gil's office with me after this meeting? And you and I'd like to show you, just you and I, what it would do to this courthouse if you take $10,000 a month out.
Well, I understand that.
Just,
and-
would you go
Well,
with
sure,
that?
I'll go with you,
Okay,
but
thank you.
the only thing that's getting me on it is we all have to follow the law. And if the statute says that jail is to be taken care of, priority, number one,
Mhm.
then if you say, hey,
Well-
this jail's gotta be taken care of, we're gonna use this money to pay this, we're gonna do this.
Okay.
And then when we go down, who can anybody point a finger at, because we're doing it by the law.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because the 1/4% that we put in the general fund, it got put into the jail to pay the deputies.
Then why didn't it go in maintenance and operation to begin with?
Do what now? The
When
one
it's
that
supposed
was-
to go in the maintenance and
Well,
operation of the
wait.
jail?
We was getting enough
That,
money
that,
on
I
that
understand what
to
you're
pay
saying, but but Randy's, we're in a hard rock and hard spot, because we could have put it towards the debt, and then we couldn't have paid the jailers. But the 1/4% is going to the jail.
It is now.
It's always, when we funded it, made the budget last year, that's the money we basically used to pay the jailers.
Well, we're still beating the horse to death, whatever that expression is. A mistake was made years ago. I'm sorry it was made, but it was made, and you all realize that. Now the problem is, we've got to solve it. So let's start doing something to solve it.
Move forward.
Yes, ma'am, and like I said, and you may not believe I don't know if the half-cent sales tax will pass or it won't. But in our opinion, we are taking a step to give the public a choice to
But if
solve
that
it.
doesn't,
I
what if it
understand, but
doesn't?
you're right, if it doesn't, we'll see. But as of right now, we are taking a step to the best of our ability to try to solve the problem.
So approved.
And it's not unprecedented, because the surrounding counties that built jails like ours had to go back and get another 1/2% so they could make their payment.
It is unprecedented to exceed the 2% constitutional limit. There's not a county in Oklahoma that's done that.
Well, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about the,
Well, follow-up question. If the has been successful, now we've got a penny and a quarter dedicated to the jail. Is the 1/4% that we dedicated as a result of the bond refinancing going to be, continue to be paid to the jail, or is it going back in the general fund? We've already indicated that a 1/2 generates more revenue than we need to pay both the debt and the operation. We haven't talked about what we're going to do with the additional funds.
you
That
said the
1/4 is on
1/2%.
the as needed too,
Yes, but
right?
you said the 1/2% was gonna create more money than we needed.
A penny and a quarter will create more
Well,
than we need.
I talked to Farley when we was writing out the ballot,
Yeah.
and he assured me twice that 1/4%, it would be legal to put it back in the general fund, and it would not be dedicated.
So what are you gonna do with the bondholders that you promised to make that payment?
Yeah.
Well, Bill,
It may be legal, but you've got a contract with the bondholders that says that entire amount will be placed in that account. We haven't answered those questions.
Well, that's a legal question such as that, you need to take that up with Farley.
Well, I respectfully disagree.
Excuse me, Go ahead.
From the discussion that I've heard going on in here for several weeks now, it's very apparent to me that we do need outside assistance on financial reporting and planning. The county only gets X amount of dollars.
Right.
And we can only spend X amount of dollars. We can't keep going beyond that. So I think that recommendation by that the audit made for getting outside financial planning assistance is, we need it.
Well, I'll make you this promise, I will start on that today. I'm not saying I'm gonna have all the answers tomorrow, but I mean, I will start looking for someone today.
And who are you gonna look for?
I'm gonna talk to Tom Merlot and see who he advises.
I don't think Tom Malott is as qualified as what.
No, I'm
and-
not saying
and
he's
a friend of
qualified. I
mine.
said
I'm
he
not saying
can-
anything bad about him.
Well, I'm just saying he may know
But he's talking
someone.
about a professional.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well,
He can advise
We
me.
have,
I'm gonna
We
tell-
already hired these people to
I
do
thought we
this?
had agreed to hire them.
But no, he asked me a question, and to answer her question, Tom is not gonna do it, but he can direct me who to talk to find someone to do it for us, and I believe he can give us direction on who to talk to, and I believe, you're right, we need to do that, and I'm gonna get on that with Tom today.
4 weeks ago, Clark, to answer your question, I asked the commissioners, you being one of those, since you were going out for your